Hello, Two Slips in the Gully fans, Aaron here, just giving some of my thoughts on the T20 World Cup and our campaign. I wanted to sit with it and really have a think about it before I jumped on and gave some thoughts, and we'll elaborate further in our upcoming episode of the podcast with Aaron and Glenn. But this has been a disaster from go to woe for Australia, and there are a number of factors involved in this. Our batting was poor. Our bowling was poor. Injuries were huge. Make no mistake, losing Hummins and Hazelwood was disastrous for the team. I think I made mention that we didn't really have a lot of class outside of Ellis in terms of the fast bowling, and that was horrifically exposed during the World Cup. Our batters were not prepared for conditions that were so foreign. And our selectors pulled in England and refused to make any amendments or any changes to the way they go about things. And the omission of Steve Smith is borderline criminal. Can't tell me that there were guys, pick any person on that team, in that squad, or any batsman in that squad, and I can make an argument why Steve Smith should be there ahead of them. The fact that he was not called in to begin with, the fact that they brought him in and didn't name him for the game against Sri Lanka, just completely ludicrous. But again, I think before we go too far into it, you need to remember we only took 4 wickets in two games that were essentially elimination games. We needed to win both of those games against Zimbabwe and Sri Lanka, and we only managed to take 2 wickets in each game. So something's got to be said about the bowlers. Something's got to be said about the amount of injuries that we carried. Tim David's form was pretty ordinary, and then he was injured during the Big Bash, came in with no cricket. Zampa was carrying injury. Ellis was carrying injury. We named Hazelwood, even though there was no chance of playing. Cummins got injured. It was just the selectors in this case seemed to have no plan B. And when a plan B presented itself in Steve Smith, were too arrogant to pivot and wanted to back their own same thing that we call England for, not wanting to make any changes. So stay tuned for the podcast. Should be coming out in the next day or so with further thoughts on that. But an absolutely disastrous World Cup campaign, and proof that while I'm sure the players take it very seriously, it could be argued that the administration does not take T20 cricket as seriously as it needs to if Australia is to become a powerhouse in this format.